So our 2 hours are also almost up. So I guess we just would want one or two of the images of where stories are going. And Nicole said she would volunteer to tell where her story began and where it's going to end. And Nicole's been with our project, I guess, longer than the other people here, and is now in graduate school, but started when it was at Hofstra. And so come up here. And we'll ask, we've told everybody that we always begin with this image of the page one moment. And where would you want this stranger to meet you on the imaginary page one of your life? And I mean, I'm just so moved by all of your stories, all of the rhythms, the heart, the feeling, and, just, I'll be really glad to watch the video again and again and hear more words. So, Nicole, don't read, but just come up here and tell the image as you would have to a group of new people of where you would want your page one to begin. Okay. So, yeah, hi.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Nicole. I'm a graduate student. One thing I did want to read was a little quote by my favorite writer, Walt Whitman. He's native to Long Island, and I feel like his quote applies well to this. So he said it in one of his books, "Will you come travel with me? Shall we stick by each other as long as we live?" And I pretty much live by this quote, and I feel that Her Stories organization really lives by it as well. So with that being said, the notion of togetherness is really where I think all of our stories are grounded. And with that being said, I plan to use my memoir to promote that sense of togetherness that I think we really need, especially in hard times today. Helen, as you were saying, we live in a very politically charged society. My story personally is about a drunk driver who hit me about in 2013 and the injuries I had sustained from the accident. So my story really speaks to people who are victims of these very ludicrous and nebulous crimes that often go on, where innocent victims are unfortunately the ones who have to suffer from it. So what I plan to do is continue writing. And I think what all of us have found through this experience, as we write more about our experiences, we start to remember more. So really what you're inclined to do is go back and keep adding, and then ultimately doing what we've done here today, which is gathering together and sharing our stories and reading empathetically with one another. So keeping up the writing and ultimately sharing our experiences, and of course continuing work with Her Story and using the story that I've created as a foundation to do so. Thank you.
And this hug is for everyone. We always talk about how the arms of Her Story come around us. And before we close, to say that we need these stories more than ever in this dark and this uncertain time. And I think that all of you give so much hope, so much spirit. I mean, it's amazing how many, even the hard stories, that the word love kept coming up. And when we started doing bilingual workshops, the first Spanish word I kind of relearned was corazon. And, there was just so much heart and so much that the world needs to hear. And wanted to close with the words of Nancy Pelosi, who talked about how the Statue of Liberty was trying to hold up her torch with tears in her eyes as this country becomes less and less of a safe and a welcoming place. And I think it's up to all of you to really help her hold up that torch and help the people whose hearts and minds and policies can be changed to see the light. And, I look forward to working with all of you next year, and hope that some people, as Glennis said, will decide that they'll make this a way of life and be with us 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and learn how to help other people tell their stories. So thank you all. Thank you, Glynis. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Emily, who's our junior facilitator from the Hofstra Training Institute. And thank most of all of you as writers. So.
In closing, I just wanted to mention that the principal of Westbury High School is here, Mrs. Zimbler. Thank you for coming and for supporting this work. Without the administrators helping us get this off the ground, I'm telling you, it wouldn't have happened. So the other thing I wanted to do was, we have writers in the room that didn't actually read today, so I wanted all the writers in the room to please stand up so we could recognize you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next semester.